Hello, welcome to my channel. I am Michelle and this is Michelle Creates. In this video I'm going to be doing loom knitting. I'm going to actually do a pattern of a knit stitch and a purl stitch. It's going to go every other. So I think it creates a rib stitch. So it's going to be knit, stitch, and purl stitch every other. So using a 24 peg loom, I'm going to go smaller so I can have a smaller project here. Using the starter peg here, I'm going to make a single knot with my acrylic yarn. It's a 4-weight. And I'm not making a project, I'm just doing the knit purl pattern so you can see how to do that. So on the loom, I need to put on a cast on, so I'm going to do that E-wrap cast on. So starting with my first peg here, which is, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to go to the right here. I'm just going to E-wrap. Okay, E-wrap again. This isn't a tutorial for that, but we're going from behind the peg and wrapping it around to the front and moving on to the next peg. So you're making the shape of a lowercase e. So E-wrapping all of the pegs. And because I'm going to be doing this in the round, I'm going to keep going. You can see as I'm doing the wrapping, I am pushing the yarn down to get it ready for the next row. I'm pushing it down as I go. I'm also want to keep my left hand here and holding that yarn so it doesn't come off the pegs. You don't want it to unravel. All right, now we're back to the beginning, and I'm going to do one more row of E-wraps. And you want to keep your 2 rows separate. Make sure that first row is pushed down and this next row is going to stay on top. So you're able to yarn over easier without catching both strands of yarn. Okay, and we are back now to the end. I'm not going to connect right now. Holding the yarn on here with my left hand so this doesn't unravel. And I'm going to go to the last peg that we just did and yarn over the whole thing. All right, now we're back to the beginning, the first peg. I'm going to keep this yarn here on my starter peg for a couple rows because I want to make sure that it stays intact here, and I want to keep that stitch right. Otherwise, it starts to come apart a little bit. Okay, now we're going to start to do this pattern of a knit stitch and a purl stitch. So I'm going to push down just a couple pieces here. I'm not going to go all the way around because the purl stitch, you have to have it up on top, so it gets interesting. All right, now because I'm working in the round, I don't skip the first peg. Okay, you only do that if you're doing a flat panel. So I'm going to use all of my pegs here. Now, because I'm doing a knit and a purl stitch, I'm going to use the U-wrap stitch. Okay, so taking my working yarn, I'm coming from behind. I'm going to go in between the first 2 pegs here. Okay, the last peg and the first peg. Okay, go in between that. And I'm just going to make a U-wrap. So I'm taking it from the front to the back, holding it down. See how it makes the shape of a U? And I'm going to knit over that. Taking my yarn, now I'm going to do a purl stitch. Okay, so I'm going to take my yarn, go in between, and I'm going to go in front, below. Okay, so pushing that up, I'm going to go in front of the peg, below that the loop that's on the peg. Okay, and you don't really have to hold it down. You could see how it goes. You could take your hand, switch it over here. You're going to find different techniques. Purl stitch. Now I'm going to take from the top here with my hook, the top loop, and I'm going to catch the bottom loop and pull it through. Okay, don't really need to hold on to it. Now I'm going to take that loop that's on the peg, take it off with your fingers. Okay, there's the new loop that I created, and put that loop on the peg. There's your purl stitch. and then pull just a little bit. Now the next one, it's an every other pattern, so the next one is the knit stitch. That's a U-wrap. Wrap it, yarn over. Using my left hand, take this to the front and grab top loop, go under the piece of yarn, pull it through, just make a nice size loop so you have something to work with. Grab that loop, that stitch off of the peg, and put the new loop on the peg and pull. Next one is knit. Okay, U-knit. Yarn over, go in between, go to the front. So grab that yarn, pull it up, make a loop, pull it off, new loop goes on, and pull. So I kind of like to make a little formula in my head as I'm going so I don't get lose track of what I'm doing. So I'm like, okay, the knit stitch or the U-wrap is in front, yarn over, purl is underneath, U-wrap goes in front to the back, purl goes under. And pull it off and on, or you can say on top or over, meaning on top of that stitch that's on there, on top, yarn over, underneath, and purl stitch. I don't know, just whatever you can think of to keep your pattern going. Another thing you can do is if you're really going to be distracted, possibly pulled away, or someone's talking to you or whatever, you can take a Sharpie and do little tick marks every other on the front of your loom here. I have green Sharpie, and that will indicate your knit stitches. Okay, whichever is easier for you to remember. Okay, now as I was talking, which one did I just do? Well, I'm assuming because I have the pegs every other, now I'm on the knit stitch, but I feel like I just did the purl. So how can I tell? Yep, I can tell. That was the purl. And the knit. The knit comes from behind also. See where it's back there? And the purl, let's find out where that yarn comes from. It's in the front. See how it's up here? That's another way for you to keep track of where you're at. Trust me, it happens. Knit and purl. Once you get the hang of the purl, it does move fairly quick. And knit, purl. This could create, let's say if you're knitting a sweater sleeve, this could create a cuff for you. It has a ribbed look. You also could do a hat with that ribbed look. It's a nicer edge, nicer finish. And of course, here's another indication that I did it correctly. You should finish with the purl on that last peg because it's an every other. And then because now I've established a few rows on here, now you can take your yarn off of the starter peg, and I want to take that knot out. More than likely I'm going to be taking a plastic needle and weaving that through my finished project. So you want to make sure that you have a long enough tail to be able to yarn it through. Usually 4 to 6 inches is good to have for a tail. And now it's out of the way. If you're going to make a hat and you're folding this up or whatever, this might go inside of it. Just depends on your project. All right, so there is your knit purl to create a ribbed look. All right, I hope this helps. Good luck, have fun. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, like I need you to go slower. I do have other videos out there for the cast on, and that is very slow. So I hope this helps. Have a great time, and I'll see you in the next video.